Welcome to the first official video. So, today we'll be talking about the Gunas in Vedic Astrology, because it must start here, because these Gunas take up basically all the signs, all the planets, all of them center around these three. So, the first one we'll talk about is Tamas. So, Tamas is as you can see here, it's the purpose of Tamas is destroy and transform. So, it's kind of like an energy that just wants to just like, it can be violent. It can be violent in nature. But it's also a very necessary part, because without Tamas, it's like the ground we're standing on. That's Tamas. Like the ground. These are all fundamental parts of this this science that we call Vedic astrology, because it's also known as Jyotish. And Tamas is also a lot of people say it's like a negative. It can be negative, but the way I see it, there has to be negativity, like positivity. They can't exist without the other one existing, right? Because if that were the case, then there wouldn't be a term to define it. So that's what Tamas is. It's like a very destructive energy, and it's kind of like what you gotta meditate on, destruction when it comes to Tamas. Whether it be good or bad destruction, that depends. The next one is Rajas. So Rajas is all about movement, and it's all about generation. So it's kind of like when you're moving around, like playing sports, you're practicing a Rajas activity, where you're moving, and and it's also unlike Tamas. It has a very passionate essence to it. Tamas is kind of more of a lazy energy. Like, you don't want to feel like doing much. Laziness is a very Tamasic trait. And Rajas, the traits are more self-centered. Also being forceful. That's another trait. I'll show you guys the card. These are really cool cards, by the way. This is the card for Rajas. But yeah, so how Tamas and Rajas differ. Tamas is like a state of solidifying, like solid. That's Tamas. Rajas is like a moving energy. Like, I'm doing this. That's like moving. It's a moving energy. And it's very restless energy as well. It's very restless, and sometimes it can be very. That's the thing. There are negative aspects to each of these. Can also make one pretty controlling as well over their environment. With Rajas. And the final one we'll talk about, which after this we'll talk about how these all operate in cohesion, is Sattva. So Sattva is known as the maintainer. It's a maintain, it's kind of an essence that pervades the kind of space. It's and another word to note is organization. Organization is a very key, and this is what Sattva is. And yes, balance is also another one. Balance is very important when it comes to this. And it's a pure, like, Tamas is kind of like, not corrupted, but like very, like, it's very, like destructive, whilst Rajas wants to create things. That's what Rajas wants to do. And Sattva wants to maintain the things that have gone through the destruction or the creation, so you can kind of like get past the um get past all the hecticness there and kind of maintain that like smoothly. Um, and like I said, it's very pure energy. It's a very focused, pure energy. Um, and it's like very it's very wise and refined um, energy as well. So everything I discussed here about these three gunas, which is what they're called, gunas. So tamas, rajas, and sattva. These three gunas influence the zodiac signs, and also the planets also share qualities with these gunas, because these gunas, as based in Jyotish, are connected with beings that were responsible for the because just for some background, Vedic astrology is based upon Hinduism, and the ideas from Hinduism are very prevalent. So so for example, these three gunas can also be described as Shiva, Brahma, and Vishnu. So these three gunas are very extremely important for understanding and going forward, because, like I said, these gunas, like, this is the essence of reality, basically. Like, we all share qualities from these gunas, like whether some are more lazy than others, or some are more selfish and they're like more controlling, or whether some people are very like very pure and very like good-hearted and like caring. Um, but nonetheless, we're all a combination of these. So no one's one of each. We're a mix. We're a mix of all three. And we all vary in degree, and that's where we get to the birth chart, because the birth chart will show us how much of each of these are we, and then you get into details like that. So, and just another thing to note, the planets. I'll tell you what the planets, how they align with the guna. So we'll start with the sun. The sun is a rajas energy, and Mercury would also be a rajas. Venus would be sattva. Actually, no, I'm wrong about that. Venus is a rajas as well. Mars is a tamas. Although, even so, the planets aren't necessarily that influence on these as the zodiac signs. The zodiac signs, these influence the zodiac signs a bit more, but there's certain qualities that like you can similarities that you can derive from the planets, which is where that's how you read a chart actually. You look at the three Gunas, and you compare the qualities of the sign where the planet is placed in. But before I get too complicated, that was just the all three Gunas, and I would say none of these Gunas are more important than the other. They just all exist. They are all prevalent, and they all are relevant to understanding Vedic astrology or Jyotish on a very deep level. All right, well, thank you all, and I will catch you guys later.